I get it, you don't want to waste money on a projector that looks amazing on the box but ends up being a disappointment once it's actually in the room. The big question is whether the LG HU915QE really gives you that cinema-grade experience without turning your living space into a tech circus. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first started researching ultra-short throw options, the thing that kept popping up was the pain of finding a projector that can sit almost flush against the wall and still fill the room with a 100-inch plus image. The HU915QE claims a 0.19 throw ratio, which translates to roughly 2 inches of distance from the wall. In practice, that means you can mount the unit on a low ceiling or place it on a piece of furniture and still get a massive picture without the long arm setup most traditional projectors demand. If you have a clean, flat wall and can keep the projector that close, the installation is surprisingly straightforward. Just a few screws, a level, and the built-in auto keystone correction takes care of the rest. Brightness is another deal-breaker for many buyers. At 3700 ANSI lumens, this LG model is bright enough to handle everyday ambient light that you'd find in a typical family room with a few lamps on or daylight streaming through curtains. In my own test, the picture stayed vivid even with the lights dimmed to a comfortable level for conversation. That level of brightness also means you don't have to black out the room like you would with a lower lumens home theater projector, which is a real convenience for people who watch movies after dinner or during a weekend brunch. However, if you plan to project in a sun-filled space with windows uncovered, you'll still see some washout. The projector isn't a substitute for a dedicated home theater room with controlled lighting. The real 4K UHD label isn't just marketing hype. The 3840x2160 resolution delivers genuine 4-megapixel count of 1080p, so fine details in nature documentaries or the texture of a period drama costume stay crisp. When you pair that resolution with the high brightness, the image maintains its sharpness without looking grainy, even when you push the size up to 120 inches. For gamers, the low input lag reported by LG means you won't be fighting a noticeable delay, though the projector does cap at 60 Hz, so fast-action competitive titles might feel a bit softer compared to a dedicated gaming monitor. What makes the HU915QE feel a little more like a TV than a traditional projector is its integrated webOS 6.0 platform. Out of the box you have direct access to Netflix, YouTube, Apple TV+, and a whole suite of streaming apps without needing an external box. The interface is clean, the remote is responsive, and the voice control integration works well if you already have a smart speaker ecosystem. This is a huge time saver for anyone who doesn't want to juggle multiple devices. You just point the remote, pick your app, and you're watching. On the downside, the app selection isn't as exhaustive as a Roku or Fire TV stick. So if you rely on a niche streaming service that isn't in the LG store, you'll need to connect an external device via HDMI. Speaking of ports, the projector offers a generous selection: 2 HDMI inputs, a USB-C port that supports video input, and a dedicated LAN port for a wired network connection. The HDMI ports are HDMI 2.0, which means you can run a 4K 60 Hz signal from a compatible Blu-ray player or gaming console, but you won't get the newer HDMI 2.1 features like variable refresh rate. The USB-C input is handy if you want to plug a laptop directly and treat the screen like a monitor for presentations or work-from-home days. One practical limitation I ran into is the size of the power cable. It's fairly long, which is good for flexibility, but you'll need to route it neatly to avoid a cluttered ceiling or floor. Who should consider buying this? If you're a movie lover who wants a true-to-life 4K picture in a living room that isn't a dedicated dark theater, and you appreciate the convenience of a built-in smart platform, the HU915QE hits a sweet spot. It also works well for families that enjoy occasional gaming sessions, because the low input lag and decent refresh rate keep